Let me tell you something. I've been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
Welcome to Market Makers, everyone. Your home for tomorrow's TA today. So, Bitcoin video. I have the cryptos on here as well, Ethereum and Solana. We had a lot happen. We got our pivot for a new Bitcoin all-time high on the exact day, as you guys know, for the pivot. So we're going to cover that when we zoom in the charts. We had CPI inflation come out today as well, and core fell once again overall 5 months in a row of lower inflation. Broad-based CPI went up 1/10, but does that mean Powell will cut? Remember, the Fed is at the end of the month on the 29th and 30th. The 30th, they announce if they're going to cut or not. I don't think the Fed's going to cut. I don't think Powell wants to buckle. If Trump beat him up enough and he actually cuts, I think he'll view that as like capitulation. So I think his ego is not going to allow him to cut. So how does that affect the rally that's happening in crypto? Well, as you guys know, we've been looking for a July top, okay? We've been looking for this July top, and my target is 132. We got up to 123. Almost there. I think we have the next couple of weeks here towards the end of July. Now that we got past the inflation print, we have these last 2 weeks here in the month to see if we can hit that target. And I want to show you that in the charts. Guys, if you want to join our Discord, I would love to see you in our trading community. It's a fantastic financial freedom seeking community. You can join right through our website, marketmakers.trade. But also, some of you are joined through YouTube. You can join the Discord through YouTube, and we're going to start uploading all the videos that you get on the Discord into YouTube for the membership area. So if you just want to join through YouTube, you can do that as well with that join button, okay? So that's another way you can join the room. Let's go ahead and look at what we got in the charts. You guys saw this chart. I colored it up nice and pretty. This is pinned on my X profile. Give me a follow at Market Canary right here on the screen as well. I do updates there. This is pinned on my X profile. I gave it some color. This is a 4-year Bitcoin top and bottom cycle. This has nothing to do with the halving. This is literally technical analysis based on tops and bottoms. And it's literally coming out to just about 4 years. I feel like a teenage girl. How many times can I say literally in a sentence? But what I want to show you guys, the key points here, again, in case you missed last video. The 4-year cycle from tops here, going back to 2013. When did you peak? November 2013. When did you peak in 2017? November. When did you peak? Actually, early December. When did you peak in 2021? You peaked in early November. The next peak along this 4-year cycle, which is beautiful symmetry, is looking like November, December 2025. Yes, this year, up and coming. What's that target look like? I'm looking at 132 for the summer rally if we can get there, guys. And as you guys know, if you've been watching my channel, all this year, we've been talking about the ability to go to 168, okay? Could these numbers get exceeded? Of course, but this is Fibonacci. Remember, this is market mathematics based on contraction and expansion of the marketplace. So my summer rally target here for July remains 132, and then my top cycle target is 168. And then you get a retracement. When you look at the bottoms in the market here as well, very symmetrical. You're looking at almost exactly 4 years between bottoms. January 2015, December 2018, okay? Almost exactly 4 years, 204 bars. Remember, 1 year is 52 bars, so you're looking at 208 bars for a 4-year cycle on a weekly time frame. Same going out. So that bottom cycle would call for November, December 2026. And when you look at when the bottom, you had that aberration in 2015, early January, but the last 2 cycle bottoms have been in December and November. November, December tops, November, December bottoms. And the main warning signal I'm looking at that's been tracking beautifully is the RMA, guys. The RMA, when this triggers and you pass the previous cycle's all-time high, you get the top within 30 days. Over here in 2021, did this exact same thing. Here's the RMA passing the 2017 high. Top was in within 30 days. Boom, 77% drawdown, okay? We're going to look at that in some future videos as well. But notice where we are. Here's the RMA. got to go a little bit more into there. So what is that actual price target? You need to pass 69K for the RMA, and then the top should be in within 30 days if the cycle continues. Right now, the RMA is at 55,549. So you got another 14,000 points this thing can move before that final top. But again, I'm looking for November, December final top in the marketplace. Let's look at this on simplified chart. You guys know I'm a heavy market geometry Fibonacci trader, pattern trader. I simplified this, took the Fibonacci off. I know not a lot of people traded Fibonacci. You guys have seen these target projections, same numbers, right? Back when we had 109, Q4 2024, 109K was hit, beautiful hit. What did it do? 32% retracement. What happened when we hit 73K? 33% retracement. If we hit 132, guys, what do you think the next retracement would be? If you look at market symmetry, 32% or 33%, 32%, you could see a 33% drawdown. So let's just look at this. I want to do some measurements with you guys so you can get an idea here, because there's a couple of cool things about this. If we get to the summer rally target of 132 and we were to come down, the same exact retracement we've done 2 times before, which by the way would mean it would be a great place to long, look at where this would settle at. Right about 89K Bitcoin, okay? Right about 89K. What market structure you have right there? These previous highs from March of 2025, you would be coming up to 132, coming back down. Is that bearish or bullish? It's bullish. You have a series of higher lows all the way back from your 15.5, your diamond pattern breakout trade, right? Gave you that trade October 2023, 140% move. You have a series of higher lows all through here, and my blow off top target's 168, and we have the time in the cycle, November, December 2025, to get there. So you can see Bitcoin come up 132, come back down 89K, ultimate buying opportunity, boom, big move up to 168. If you want to look at this from a measurement perspective as well, what would that growth be, right? All about the growth here. What would that growth be? From 89 up to 168K would be a 90% move off that low. But wait, there's more. Because when you look at this, this would give you beautiful market symmetry, so it's definitely possible. One thing, if you look at the pattern, however, looking at the pattern here, where did the previous retracements go? So when you look at the first retracement from March of 2024, came right down there to from 73 down to 48.9. What did that tap? That tapped your previous accumulation range. You see that? What about the next 30+% retracement? It went from 109 all the way down to 73. What did that tap? The ceiling, once again, of your previous accumulation range, okay? If you kept up this pattern, that means price would come up to 132, find some type of top, and come back down. But that move down may stop right here at the top of the previous accumulation range, just like it did in the prior 2 retracements. So what would that mean? That would mean you're looking at Bitcoin holding 100K, okay? Coming up to 132, holding 100K, there's 109, come down to 100K somewhere in here. That means Bitcoin hold 100K. That's like a 23% drawdown, 20% drawdown. That is hyper bullish and makes that growth rate to get to 168 even easier in that time frame. Again, it's about a pattern. Is there a guarantee here? No. It's all about probabilities, looking at what Bitcoin has done the whole market cycle. Will it do it a third time? Will it hit the Fibonacci expansion target 132? And then it's going to be about holding 100K or coming back down to that deeper level of 89. Either way, bullish both ways, okay? Hyper bullish if you hold 100K on that retracement. One other thing you can look at, a lot of people like to look at the mathematics. A lot of the old guys you see do TA, because this was very common back when these books were written in the 60s and 70s about range expansion. They weren't using Fibonacci. You're literally just using market math here, right? If you draw a trend line from the market low, 15.5, up to that first accumulation range, you get a doubling of the range at 132. Just gives you the old school mentality of getting to 132. You probably noticed some members told me there's some other YouTubers, much larger channels than mine, that are now giving you 135 targets, 130 targets. And I think that's great. Eventually everybody sees the same thing, but you got those targets 6 months ago here. Just saying. Just saying. Let's click through some charts. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance. You're coming down at a 50% retracement, right about 64%. This is good to get some alts, to get some movement. So you got Bitcoin dominance. You have the heart line of the channel here, right intersecting there. So you may find support there. And that could also generate the next Bitcoin move up, right? Because obviously we sold off a little bit off our highs. We're going to look at that in the chart. If we look at the daily time frame, again, there's that pivot, guys. July 10th, beautiful. Right on the candle, new all-time high, spun price up just above 123, okay? Now, when we look at these targets to the upside, you've seen my larger macro patterns in other videos, but you also have it here on the daily going back to January 20th, 2025. Just pulling a fib retracement down, you can see this at 131,871. That's the 132, guys. And then you have the 145 stopping point. And look at your 2618, 167. So if I zoom out to the entire market cycle, I get you to 132 with 3 different Fibonacci patterns. Even on the daily time frame, compressing this pattern just to show you that recent top from this year, I get you to 132 and 168. Again, doesn't mean it has to do that. I think the probability is that's what's going to happen, okay? So what we want to look at here when we zoom into Bitcoin, you'll see this a little bit closer. Looking at the 8-hour time frame, here's our Fibonacci line of 90%. We saw this being bullish. Here's your pivot on your cycle right here. And now you're going sideways, right? So let's look at some information here. We have money flow turning back down, coming down to an absorption level. So you want to watch that. And then we have the DVD, the Desmond Volume Delta, providing support right down here, right where it fell to. Again, look for Bitcoin. We look at this from a price action perspective to try to hold this range right here and do some chopping, work off the overbought condition, I guess you could say. What is that, 116 right there? I would look 116 down to 112, 113, somewhere there. If you can hold this range, guys, I think you're coming up to the 132. Again, we have the runway of the rest of the month to get there. So pretty exciting, I think, especially if that target hits, because it'll be a fantastic short as well to flip that to the downside. If you look at Ethereum, how's this stacking up? Well, if we pull the Ethereum resistance from December 16th, 2024, you're literally right at the 618, right? 3,068. So depending how alts behave as Bitcoin chops and dominance descends, if you get a breakout to the next level up, you're looking at 35.26. People keep asking me, when are alts really going to run? I think your biggest alt move is going to be after the retracement, guys. Because if you think about Bitcoin, even if it comes down just 20%, right? Even if it just comes down that 20% after we get to 132, if it comes down to 100, thereabouts, or even if it comes deeper, when Bitcoin does that big move to the November, December cycle top, 168, you're going to see flush of money. And as the money rotates into Bitcoin, it then rotates into alt. So I think your biggest run is going to be more towards the end of the year, towards the end of the cycle, with just the way that this market has matured with ETFs, because you have ETFs for altcoins now. Everybody has a trading app on their phone. By the way, check out Bitunix with our link if you want to trade these markets. Be a Market Makers VIP. It supports the channel. But I think that's what's going to happen. That's your biggest move, your next big wave up. And that's when you're going to see some of these highs get taken out. So Ethereum stuck at resistance at 3,068. Bitcoin gets a little bit more bullish. Maybe you get to 3,500. And of course, when Bitcoin retraces, you're going to see Ethereum retrace as well. So if you take this level out and flip it, let's say you get to 35, you're going to see a retracement. And then you're just going to look, we're going to use Fibonacci as the time comes, but also look at your market structure of where the candles are. You could easily return back into that area, hold that level, and that would be your next leg up, okay? Again, view it as waves. Wave up, sideways, got a coil. Possible wave up, get a retracement, and then get your slingshot, just like Bitcoin's going to do, just like the markets are going to do. Let's look at Solana. Solana's the same story. It's 159. On Solana, to get to those higher levels, the first level you got to take out is just 168. And then you have to take out the next level, your next fractal high here of 187 to come up to that 200, 210 level. But you're seeing the same thing overall on these big alts like Ethereum, Solana, bullish structure. You're low, you're higher low. You're going to get some chop. Maybe you can get a move up, try to get to that 187. You're going to get a pullback when Bitcoin does its retracement, obviously. And if you can hold the structures in place, then you want to look at the higher level targets. These will be in future videos because right now everybody's watching Bitcoin. Right now everybody's watching the markets making new all-time highs today. But watch the altcoins because you get the coil, you get the spring, and that's how we got the 97% move on Solana to the upside on the last trade. So, all right, guys, check out the market video. It's coming out next. And I answer your comments. I read them as always. Definitely follow me on X at Market Canary. Hope to see you guys in the Discord. And again, we'll be uploading my education videos, all the videos that you get as a market maker member to the membership area on YouTube if you want to try to join that way. We'll be doing that this week, okay? All right, guys, take care, everybody.